Chapters 31 through 40 of the Egyptian Book of the Dead by E. A. Wallis Budge. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Chapter 31, Vignette. In some ancient papyri, the vignette of this chapter represents the deceased spearing a crocodile, but in the Sa'ite recension, the deceased is attacking 4 crocodiles. Text: the chapter of beating back the crocodile that cometh to carry away the charm from Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, the son of the overseer of the palace, Amenhetep, triumphant in the underworld. He saith: Get thee back, return, get thee back, thou crocodile fiend, Sui. Thou shalt not advance to me, for I live by reason of the magical words which I have by me. I do not utter that name of thine to the great God who will cause thee to come to the 2 divine envoys. The name of the one is Beti, and the name of the other is Ra Kenmaat. Heaven hath power over its seasons, and the magical word hath power over that which is in its possession. Let therefore my mouth have power over the magical word which is therein. My front teeth are like unto flint knives, and my jaw teeth are like unto the nome of Tutef. Hail, thou that sittest with thine eyeball upon these my magical words. Thou shalt not carry them away, O thou crocodile that livest by means of magical words. In the Turin Papyrus the following lines are added to this chapter. I am the prince in the field, I, even I, am Osiris, who hath shut in his father Seb together with his mother Nut on the day of the great slaughter. My father is Seb, and my mother is Nut. I am Horus, the firstborn of Ra, who is crowned. I am Anpu, Anubis, on the day of reckoning. Even I am Osiris, the prince, who goeth in and declareth the offerings which are written down. I am the guardian of the door of Osiris, even I. I have come, I have become glorious, or a coup. I have been reckoned up, I am strong. I have come, and I avenge mine own self. I have sat in the birth chamber of Osiris, and I was born with him, and I renew my youth along with him. I have laid hold upon the thigh which was by Osiris, and I have opened the mouth of the gods therewith. I sit upon the place where he sitteth, and I write down the number of the things which make strong the heart, thousands of loaves of bread, thousands of vases of beer, which are upon the altars of his father Osiris, numbers of jackals, wolves, oxen, red fowl, geese, and ducks. Horus hath done away with the sacrifices of Thoth. I fill the office of priest in the regions above, and I write down there the things which make strong the heart. I make offerings, or offerings are made to me at the altars of the prince of Tatu, and I have my being through the oblations made to him. I snuff the wind of the east by his head, and I lay hold upon the breezes of the west thereby. I go round about heaven in the 4 quarters thereof. I stretch out my hand and grasp the breezes of the south, which are upon its hair. Grant unto me air among the venerable beings and among those who eat bread. Rubric: if this chapter be known by the deceased, he shall come forth by day, he shall rise up to walk upon the earth among the living, and he shall never fail and come to an end, never, never, never. Chapter 32, Vignette: 4 crocodiles advancing against the deceased, who is spearing one of them. Text: the chapter of beating back the crocodile that cometh to carry away the magical words from the Khu in the underworld. Osiris Auf Ankh, triumphant, saith: The mighty one fell down upon the place where he is, or as others say, upon his belly, but the company of the gods caught him and set him up again. My soul cometh, and it speaketh with its father, and the Mighty One delivereth it from these 8 crocodiles. I know them by their names, and what they live upon, and I am he who hath delivered his father from them. Get thee back, O crocodile, that dwellest in the west, thou that livest upon the stars which never rest, for that which is an abomination unto thee is in my belly. O thou that hast eaten the forehead of Osiris, I am Set. Get thee back, O crocodile, that dwellest in the west, for the serpent fiend Naau is in my belly, and I will give him unto thee. Let not thy flame be against me. Get thee back, O crocodile, that dwellest in the east, who feedest upon those who eat their own filth, for that which is an abomination unto thee is in my belly. I advance, I am Osiris. Get thee back, O crocodile, that dwellest in the east, the serpent fiend Naau is in my belly, and I will give him unto thee. Let not thy flame be against me. Get thee back, O crocodile, that dwellest in the south, who feedest upon filth and waste and dirt, for that which is an abomination unto thee is in my belly. Shall not the flame be on thy hand? I am Sept. Get thee back, O crocodile, that dwellest in the south, for I am safe by reason of my charm. My fist is among the flowers, and I will not give it unto thee. Get thee back, O crocodile, that dwellest in the north, who feedest upon what is offered within the hours, for that which thou abominatest is in my belly. Let not thy venom be upon my head, for I am Tem. Get thee back, O crocodile, that dwellest in the north, for the goddess Serket is in my belly, and I have not yet brought her forth. I am Uach, Maati, or Murti. The things which are created are in the hollow of my hand, and those which have not yet come into being are in my body. I am clothed and wholly provided with thy magical words, O Ra, the which are in heaven above me and in the earth beneath me. I have gained power and exaltation and a full breathing throat in the abode of my father the Mighty One, and he hath delivered unto me the beautiful Amentet, which destroyeth living men and women, but strong is its divine Lord, who suffereth from weakness, or, as others say, exhaustion twofold, therein day by day. My face is open, my heart is upon its seat, and the crown with the serpent is upon me day by day. I am Ra, who is his own protector, and nothing shall ever cast me to the ground. Chapter 33. Vignette. This chapter is without a vignette in the Papyrus of Nu, but in one manuscript the deceased, with a knife in his hand, is seen attacking 4 serpents, and in another 4 serpents only are given. Text: The chapter of repulsing serpents or worms. Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, saith: Hail, thou serpent Rerek, advance not hither. Behold, Seb and Shu, stand still now, and thou shalt eat the rat, which is an abominable thing unto Ra, and thou shalt crunch the bones of the filthy cat. Chapter 34. Vignette. This chapter is without a vignette in the Theban and Saite recensions. Text: The chapter of not letting Osiris Nu, triumphant, be bitten by snakes or worms in the underworld. He saith: O serpent, I am the flame which shineth upon the opener of hundreds of thousands of years, and the standard of the god Tenpu, or, as others say, the standard of young plants and flowers. Depart ye from me, for I am the divine Maftet. Chapter 35. Vignette. This chapter is without a vignette in the Papyrus of Nu, but in the Brocklehurst Papyrus 3 serpents form the vignette. In the Turin Papyrus the vignette shows the deceased in the act of spearing a serpent. Text: The chapter of not letting Nu, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, be devoured by serpents in the underworld. He saith: Hail, thou god Shu! Behold Tatu! Behold Shu! Hail, Tatu! Shu hath the headdress of the goddess Hathor. They nurse Osiris. Behold the twofold being who is about to eat me. Alighting from the boat, I depart. and the serpent fiend Sek passeth me by. Behold, Sam and Aakhet, flowers are kept under guard. This being is Osiris, and he maketh entreaty for his tomb. The eyes of the divine prince are dropped, and he performeth the reparation which is to be done for thee. He giveth unto thee thy portion of right and truth, according to the decision concerning the states and conditions of men. Chapter 36. Vignette. This Chapter is without a vignette in the Papyrus of Nu, but in others containing the Theban Recension. The vignettes either show the deceased spearing a beetle, or standing with a knife in one hand and a staff in the other before a pedestal upon which stands the insect Apshait, which has been identified with the cockroach. The Apshait is probably the beetle which is often found crushed between the bandages of poorly made mummies, or even inside the body itself, where it has forced its way in search of food. Text: The Chapter of driving away Apshait. Osiris Nu, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, saith: "Depart from me, O thou that hast lips which gnaw, for I am Khnemu, the lord of Peshenu, and bring the words of the gods to Ra, and I report my message to the lord thereof." Chapter 37. Vignette: Two uraei with tails entwined upon the emblem of gold. In the vignette of this Chapter in the Turin Papyrus, the deceased is seen spearing a serpent. Text: The Chapter of driving back the two Merti goddesses. Nu, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, saith: "Homage to you, ye two Rekhet goddesses, ye two sisters, ye two Mert goddesses. I bring a message to you concerning my magical words. I shine from the Sektet boat. I am Horus, the son of Osiris, and I have come to see my father Osiris." Chapter 38a. Vignette: The deceased holding a sail, symbolic of air. Text: The Chapter of living by air in the underworld. The scribe Nebseni, the lord to whom veneration is paid, saith: "I am the god Tem, who cometh forth out of Nu into the watery abyss. I have received my habitation of Amentet, and have given commands with my words to the Khus, whose abiding places are hidden, to the Khus, and to the double lion god. I have made journeys round about, and I have sung hymns of joy in the boat of Khepera. I have eaten therein, I have gained power therein, and I live therein through the breezes which are there. I am the guide in the boat of Ra, and he openeth out for me a path. He maketh a passage for me through the gates of the god Seb. I have seized and carried away those who live in the embrace of the god the mighty one. I am the guide of those who live in their shrines, the two brother gods Horus and Set, and I bring the noble ones with me. I enter in and I come forth, and my throat is not slit. I go into the boat of Maat, and I pass in among those who live in the Atet boat, and who are in the following of Ra, and are nigh unto him in his horizon. I live after my death day by day, and I am strong even as is the double lion god. I live, and I am delivered after my death. I, the scribe Nebseni, the lord of piety, who filled the earth and come forth like the lily of mother of emerald, of the god Hetep of the two lands. Chapter 38b. Vignette: The deceased holding in his left hand a sail, symbolic of air, and attacking three serpents with a knife which he holds in his right hand. In the Turin Papyrus, the deceased holds a sail in the left hand and the symbol of life in the right. Text: The Chapter of living by air in the underworld. Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, the son of the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Amenhetep, triumphant, saith: "I am the double lion god, the firstborn of Ra and Tem of Ha Khebti, the gods who dwell in their divine chambers. Those who dwell in their divine abodes have become my guides, and they make paths for me as they revolve in the watery abyss of the sky by the side of the path of the boat of Tem. I stand upon the timbers of the boat of Ra. I recite his ordinances to the beings who have knowledge, and I am the herald of his words to him whose throat stinketh. I set free my divine fathers at eventide. I close the lips of my mouth, and I eat like unto a living being. I have life in Tatu, and I live again after death like Ra, day by day. Chapter 39. Vignette: The deceased spearing a serpent. Text: the chapter of driving back the serpent Rerek in the underworld. Osiris Mesemneter saith: Get thee back, depart, retreat from me, O Apep. Withdraw, or thou shalt be drowned at the pool of Nu, at the place where thy father hath ordered that thy slaughter shall be performed. Depart thou from the divine place of birth of Ra, wherein is thy terror. I am Ra, who dwelleth in his terror. Get thee back, fiend, before the darts of his beams. Ra hath overthrown thy words, the gods have turned thy face backwards, the lynx hath torn open thy breast, the scorpion hath cast fetters upon thee, and Maat hath sent forth thy destruction. Those who are in the ways have overthrown thee. Fall down and depart, O Apep, thou enemy of Ra, O thou that passest over the region in the eastern part of heaven with the sound of the roaring thundercloud. O Ra, who openest the gates of the horizon straightway on thy appearance, Apep hath sunk helpless under thy gashings. I have performed thy will, O Ra, I have performed thy will. I have done that which is fair, I have done that which is fair, I have laboured for the peace of Ra. I have made to advance thy fetters, O Ra, and Apep hath fallen through thy drawing them tight. The gods of the south and of the north, of the west and of the east, have fastened chains upon him, and they have fettered him with fetters. The god Rekes hath overthrown him, and the god Hertit hath put him in chains. Ra setteth, Ra setteth, Ra is strong at his setting. Apep hath fallen, Apep the enemy of Ra departeth. Greater is the punishment which hath been inflicted on thee than the sting which is in the scorpion goddess, and mightily hath she, whose course is everlasting, worked it upon thee, and with deadly effect. Thou shalt never enjoy the delights of love, thou shalt never fulfil thy desire, O Apep, thou enemy of Ra. He maketh thee to go back, O thou who art hateful to Ra. He looketh upon thee, get thee back. He pierceth thy head, he cutteth through thy face, he divideth thy head at the two sides of the ways, and it is crushed in his land. Thy bones are smashed in pieces, thy members are hacked off thee, and the god Acre hath condemned thee, O Apep, thou enemy of Ra. Thy mariners are those who keep the reckoning for thee, O Ra, as thou advancest, and thou resteth there wherein are the offerings made to thee. As thou advancest towards the house, the advance which thou hast made towards the house is a prosperous advance. Let not any baleful obstacle proceed from thy mouth against me when thou workest on my behalf. I am Set, who let loose the storm clouds and the thunder in the horizon of heaven, even as doth the god Necheb Ab F. Hail, saith the god Tem, make strong your faces, O soldiers of Ra, for I have driven back the god Nencha in the presence of the divine sovereign princes. Hail, saith the god Seb, make ye firm those who are upon their seats, which are in the boat of Khepera. Take ye your ways, grasping your weapons of war in your hands. Hail, saith Hathor, take ye your armour. Hail, saith Nut, come and repulse the god Tcha, who pursueth him that dwelleth in his shrine, and who setteth out on his way alone, namely Neber Chur, who cannot be repulsed. Hail, say those gods who dwell in their companies and who go round about the turquoise pool. Come, O mighty one, we praise, and we will deliver the mighty one who dwelleth in the divine shrine, from whom proceeds the company of the gods. Let commemorations be made for him. Let praise be given to him. Let words of praise be recited before him by you and by me. Hail, saith Nut, to thy sweet one. Hail, say those who dwell among the gods. He cometh forth. he findeth his way, he maketh captives among the gods, he hath taken possession of the goddess Nut, and Seb standeth up. Hail, thou terrible one! The company of the gods is on the march. Hathor quaketh with terror, and Ra hath triumphed over Apep. Chapter 40. Vignette: the deceased spearing a serpent which has sprung upon an ass and is biting into his neck. Text: the chapter of driving back the eater of the ass. Osiris Ra, triumphant, saith: 1. Get thee back! Hi, thou impure one, thou abomination of Osiris! Thoth hath cut off thy head, and I have performed upon thee all the things which the company of the gods ordered concerning thee in the matter of the work of thy slaughter. Get thee back, thou abomination of Osiris, from the Neshmet boat, which advanceth with a fair wind. Ye are holy, O all ye gods, and ye have cast down headlong the enemies of Osiris. The gods of Te shout for joy. Get thee back, O thou eater of the ass, thou abomination of the god Haas, who dwelleth in the underworld. I know thee, I know thee, I know thee, I know thee. Who art thou? I am. 2. On thy face, O Fiend, and devour me not, for I am pure, and I am with the time which cometh of itself. Thou shalt not come to me, O thou that comest without being invoked, and whose time of coming is unknown. I am the Lord of thy mouth. Get thee back, thou and thy desires. Hail, Haos, with his stone knife Horus hath cut asunder thy members, and thou art destroyed within thy company, and thy bend or dwelling place is destroyed for thee by the company of the gods who dwell in the cities of Pe and Tep. He that slayeth thee there is in the form of the Eye of Horus, and I have driven thee away as thou wast advancing, and I have vanquished thee by the winds of my mouth. O thou eater of those who commit sins, who dost plunder and spoil, I have committed no sin. Therefore let my palate and the writings with hostile charges against me upon them be given unto me. I have done no wrong in the presence of the sovereign princes, therefore shoot not thy venom at me. I give, do thou take according to what I order. Snatch me not away, and eat me not, for I am the Lord of life, the Prince, life, health, strength of the horizon. End of chapters 31 through 40. Chapters 41 through 50 of the Egyptian Book of the Dead by E.A. Wallis Budge. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Chapter 41. Vignette: the deceased armed with a knife and a short staff. In the Turin Papyrus the deceased is piercing a serpent which lies writhing on a barred instrument. Text: the chapter of driving away the slaughterings which are performed in the underworld. Nebseni, the scribe and designer in the temples of Upper and Lower Egypt, he to whom fair veneration is paid, the son of the scribe and artist Thena, triumphant, saith: Hail, Tem! I have become glorious, or a Khu, in the presence of the double lion god. The great god, therefore open thou unto me the gate of the god Seb. I smell the earth, I bow down so that my nose toucheth the ground, of the great god who dwelleth in the underworld, and I advance into the presence of the company of the gods who dwell with the beings who are in the underworld. Hail, thou guardian of the divine door of the city of Beta, thou god Neti, who dwellest in Amentet. I eat food, and I have life through the air, and the god Ach leadeth me with him to the mighty boat of Khepera. I hold converse with the divine mariners at eventide. I enter in, I go forth, and I see the being who is there. I lift him up, and I say that which I have to say unto him whose throat stinketh for lack of air. I have life, and I am delivered, having lain down in death. Hail, thou that bringest offerings and oblations, bring forward thy mouth, and make to draw nigh the writings or lists of offerings and oblations. Set thou right and truth firmly upon their throne, make thou the writings to draw nigh, and set thou up the goddesses in the presence of Osiris, the mighty god, the Prince of everlastingness, who counteth his years, who hearkeneth unto those who are in the islands or pools, who raiseth his right shoulder, who judgeth the divine princes, and who sendeth Osiris into the presence of the great sovereign princes who live in the underworld. Chapter 42. Vignette: the deceased standing before Osiris with his left hand raised to his mouth, or the deceased holding a serpent in his hands, or the deceased addressing a serpent which has its head turned away, or the deceased drawing a cord from round the top of a tet, emblem of stability. Text: the chapter of driving back the slaughterings which are performed in Suten Henen. Osiris Nu, triumphant, saith: O thou land of the scepter, literally wood, O thou white crown of the divine form, O thou resting place of the boat, I am the child, I am the child, I am the child, I am the child. Hail, Abu Ur, thou sayest day by day, the slaughter block is made ready as thou knowest, and thou hast come to decay. I am Ra, the stablisher of those who praise him. I am the knot of the god within the Aser tree, the doubly beautiful one, who is more splendid than yesterday. Say 4 times. I am Ra, the stablisher of those who praise him. I am the knot of the god within the Aser tree, and my going forth is the going forth of Ra on this day. My hair is the hair of Nu, my face is the face of the disk. My eyes are the eyes of Hathor, my ears are the ears of Ap Uat. My nose is the nose of Khenti Kas. My lips are the lips of Anpu. My teeth are the teeth of Serqet. My neck is the neck of the divine goddess Isis. My hands are the hands of Ba Neb Tatu. My forearms are the forearms of Neith, the lady of Sais. My backbone is the backbone of Suti. My phallus is the phallus of Osiris. My reins are the reins of the lords of Kher Aba. My chest is the chest of the mighty one of terror. My belly and back are the belly and back of Sekhet. My buttocks are the buttocks of the Eye of Horus. My hips and legs are the hips and legs of Nut. My feet are the feet of Ptah. My fingers and my leg bones are the fingers and leg bones of the living gods. There is no member of my body which is not the member of some god. The god Thoth shieldeth my body altogether. And I am Ra day by day. I shall not be dragged back by my arms, and none shall lay violent hold upon my hands, and shall do me hurt, neither men nor gods, nor the sainted dead, nor those who have perished, nor any one of those of ancient times, nor any mortal, nor any human being. I am he who cometh forth, advancing, whose name is unknown. I am yesterday, and seer of millions of years is my name. I pass along the paths of the divine celestial judges. I am the Lord of eternity, and I decree and I judge like the god Khepera. I am the Lord of the Ureret crown. I am he who dwelleth in the Utchat and in the egg, in the Utchat and in the egg, and it is given unto me to live with them. I am he that dwelleth in the Utchat when it closeth, and I exist by the strength thereof. I come forth and I shine. I enter in and I come to life. I am in the Utchat, my seat is upon my throne, and I sit in the abode of splendor before it. I am Horus, and I traverse millions of years. I have given the decree for the stablishing of my throne, and I am the ruler thereof. And in very truth my mouth keepeth an even balance, both in speech and in silence. In very truth my forms are inverted. I am Un-Nefer from one season even unto another, and what I have is within me. I am the Only One, who proceedeth from an Only One, who goeth round about in his course. I am he who dwelleth in the Uchat. No evil thing of any form or kind shall spring up against me, and no baleful object, and no harmful thing, and no disastrous thing shall happen unto me. I open the door in heaven, I govern my throne, and I open up the way for the births which take place on this day. I am the child who marcheth along the road of yesterday. I am today for untold nations and peoples. I am he who protecteth you for millions of years, and whether ye be denizens of the heavens, or of the earth, or of the south, or of the north, or of the east, or of the west, the fear of me is in your bodies. I am he whose being has been moulded in his eye, and shall not die again. My moment is in your bodies, but my forms are in my place of habitation. I am he who cannot be known, but the red ones have their faces directed towards me. I am the unveiled one. The season wherein the God created the heavens for me, and enlarged the bounds of the earth, and made great the progeny thereof, cannot be found out, but they fail and are not united again. My name setteth itself apart from all things, and from the great evil which is in the mouths of men, by reason of the speech which I address unto you. I am he who riseth and shineth, the wall which cometh out of a wall, and only one who proceedeth from an only one. There is never a day that passeth without the things which appertain unto him being therein. Passing, 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 passing. Verily I say unto thee, I am the sprout which cometh forth from Nu, and my mother is Nut. Hail, O my Creator! I am he who hath no power to walk, the great Knot who is within yesterday. The might of my strength is within my hand. I myself am not known, but I am he who knoweth thee. I cannot be held with the hand, but I am he who can hold thee in his hand. Hail, O egg! Hail, O egg! I am Horus, who lived for millions of years, whose flame shineth upon you, and bringeth your hearts to me. I have the command of my throne, and I advance at this season. I have opened a path, and I have delivered myself from all evil things. I am the dog-headed ape of gold 3 palms and 2 fingers high, which hath neither arms nor legs, and dwelleth in Het Ka Ptah, Memphis, and I go forth as goeth forth the dog-headed ape that dwelleth in Het Ka Ptah. In the Papyrus of Ani, sheet 32, only a portion of this chapter is given, that is, the section which gives the names of the deities with whom the various members of the body of the deceased are identified. This section is arranged in tabular form, and carefully drawn vignettes giving pictures of the gods mentioned are added. The following is the translation. Vignette: the god Nu. Text: the hair of Osiris Ani, triumphant, is the hair of Nu. Vignette: Ra, hawk-headed and wearing a disk. Text: the face of Osiris, the scribe Ani, triumphant, is the face of Ra. Vignette: the goddess Hathor, with horns and a disk on her head. Text: the eyes of Osiris Ani, triumphant, are the eyes of Hathor. Vignette: the god Apuat, jackal-headed, on a standard. Text: the ears of Osiris Ani, triumphant, are the ears of Apuat. Vignette: the god Anpu, jackal-headed. Text: the lips of Osiris Ani, triumphant, are the lips of Anpu. Vignette: the scorpion goddess Serpent, holding the emblems of life and eternity. Text: the teeth of Osiris Ani, triumphant, are the teeth of Serpent. Vignette: the goddess Isis. Text: the neck of Osiris Ani, triumphant, is the neck of Isis. Vignette: a ram-headed god having a serpent between his horns. Text: the hands of Osiris Ani, triumphant, are the hands of Ba Neb Tatu. Vignette: the goddess Uatchit. Text: the shoulder of Osiris Ani, triumphant, is the shoulder of Uatchit. Vignette: the goddess Mert, standing on the symbol of gold, her hands outstretched, and she has on her head a cluster of plants. Text: the throat of Osiris Ani, triumphant, is the throat of Mert. Vignette: the goddess Neith. Text: the forearms of Osiris Ani, triumphant, are the forearms of the Lady of Sais. Vignette: the god Set. Text: the backbone of Osiris Ani, triumphant, is the backbone of Set. Vignette: a god. Text: the chest of Osiris Ani, triumphant, is the chest of the lords of Kher Aba. Vignette: a god. Text: the flesh of Osiris Ani, triumphant, is the flesh of the mighty one of terror. Vignette: a god. Text: the reins and back of Osiris Ani, triumphant, are the reins and back of Sekhet. Vignette: an Utchat upon a pylon. Text: the buttocks of Osiris Ani, triumphant, are the buttocks of the Eye of Horus. Vignette: Osiris wearing the Atef crown and holding the flail and crook. Text: the phallus of Osiris Ani, triumphant, is the phallus of Osiris. Vignette: the goddess Nut. Text: the legs of Osiris Ani, triumphant, are the legs of Nut. Vignette: the god Ptah standing on the pedestal of Maat. Text: the feet of Osiris Ani, triumphant, are the feet of Ptah. Vignette: the star Orion. Text: the fingers of Osiris Ani, triumphant, are the fingers of Orion. Vignette: 3 Ui. Text: the leg bones of Osiris Ani, triumphant, are the leg bones of the living Ui. Chapter 43. Vignette: in the Theban Recension this chapter is without a vignette. In the Turin Papyrus the deceased is seen adoring three gods, each of whom holds the emblem of life in his right hand and a scepter in his left. Text: the chapter of not letting the head of a man be cut off from him in the underworld. Osiris Ani, triumphant, saith: I am the Great One, son of the Great One. I am Fire, the son of Fire, to whom was given his head after it had been cut off. The head of Osiris was not taken away from him. Let not the head of Osiris Ani be taken away from him. I have knit myself together. I have made myself whole and complete. I have renewed my youth. I am Osiris, the Lord of eternity. Chapter 44. Vignette: the scribe Ani, clothed in white and seated in a chair. He holds in the right hand the Kerp scepter, and in the left a long staff. Before him is a table. In the Turin Papyrus the deceased is seen standing before a funeral coffer or shrine. Text: the chapter of not dying a second time in the underworld. Osiris Ani, triumphant, saith: My place of hiding is opened, my place of hiding is revealed. The Khus have fallen into the darkness, but the Eye of Horus hath made me mighty, and the god Apuat hath nursed me like a babe. I have hidden myself with you, O ye stars that never diminish. My brow is like unto that of Ra, my face is open, my heart is upon its throne. I have power over the speech of my mouth, I have knowledge. In very truth I am Ra himself. I am not held to be a person of no account, and violence shall not be done unto me. Thy father liveth for thee, O son of Nut. I am thy son, O Great One, and I have seen the hidden things which belong unto thee. I am crowned king of the gods. I shall not die a second time in the underworld. Chapter 45. Vignette: the mummy of the scribe Ani being embraced by Anubis, jackal-headed, the god of the dead. Text: the chapter of not suffering corruption in the underworld. Osiris Ani, triumphant, saith: O thou who canst not move like unto Osiris, O thou who canst not move like unto Osiris, O thou whose limbs cannot move like unto those of Osiris, let not thy limbs be without movement, let them not suffer corruption, let them not pass away, let them not decay, and let them be fashioned for me as if I myself were Osiris. Rubric: if the deceased know this chapter, he shall never suffer corruption in the underworld. Chapter 46. Vignette: the doorway of the tomb. By one post stands the soul of the scribe Ani in the form of a human-headed hawk, and by the other the Bennu bird. Text: the chapter of not perishing and of becoming alive in the underworld. Osiris Ani saith: Hail, ye children of the god Shu! Hail, ye children of the god Shu! The Tuat (underworld) hath gained the mastery over his diadem. Like the Hammemet, beings may I arise, even as Osiris doth arise and fare forth. Chapter 47. Vignette: in the Theban Recension this chapter has no vignette, but in the Turin Papyrus a funeral shrine is depicted with the soul of the deceased on one side of it and the Bennu bird on the other. Text: the chapter of not allowing the seat and throne of Nu, the overseer of the palace and chancellor in chief, to be taken away from him in the underworld. He saith: O my seat, O my throne, come ye to me, and go ye round about me. I am your lord, O ye gods. Come ye and take up your places in my train. I am the son of your lord, and ye belong to me through my divine Father, who hath made you. Chapter 47. O my seat, O my throne, come ye to me, and go ye round about me, O ye gods. I am a spiritual body, Sa. Therefore let me rise up among those who follow the great God. I am the son of Maati, and that which he abominateth is the speech of falsehood. I am in triumph. Chapter 48. This chapter is given twice in the Sa'ita Recension, once as Chapter 10 and once as Chapter 48. Chapter 49. This chapter is given twice in the Sa'ite Recension, once as Chapter 11 and once as Chapter 49. Chapter 50. A. Vignette: in the Papyrus of Ani and in the Turin Papyrus the deceased is represented standing with his back to a gory knife which rests on its block. Text: the chapter of not entering in unto the block of the god. Nebseni saith: the four bones or knots of my neck and back have been joined together for me by the guardian of heaven, who stablished the knot for him who lay helpless at the breasts of his mother on the day of cutting off the hair. The bones of my neck and back have been knit together by the god Set and by the company of the gods as strongly as they were in the time that is past. May nothing happen to break them apart. Make ye me strong. The goddess Nut hath joined together the bones of my neck and back, and they are even as they were in the time that is past, when I saw the true birth of the gods in visible forms take place in its true and right order. I am Peti, and I am in the presence of the great God. Chapter 50b. Text: the chapter of not entering in unto the block. The overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: I have joined up my head and neck in heaven and in earth. Behold, it is Ra who day by day stablisheth the knot for him who stood helpless upon his legs on the day of cutting off the hair. The god Suti and the company of the gods have joined together my neck and my back strongly, and they are even as they were in the time that is past. May nothing happen to break them apart. Make ye me strong against the slaughterer of my divine father. I have gotten power over my two lands. The goddess Nut hath joined together the bones of my neck and back, and I behold them as they were in the time that is past, when as yet I had not seen Maat, and when the gods were not born in visible forms. I am Penti, and I am in the form of the destroyer of the great gods. End of chapters 41 through 50. Chapters 51 through 60 of the Egyptian Book of the Dead by E. A. Wallis Budge. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Chapter 51. Vignette. This chapter is without a vignette in the Theban Recension. In the Turin Papyrus, an upright figure of the deceased forms the vignette. Text: the chapter of not marching to be overthrown in the underworld. The overseer of the palace Nu, triumphant, saith, that which is an abomination unto me, that which is an abomination unto me, let me not eat. That which is an abomination unto me, that which is an abomination unto me is filth. Let me not eat it in the place of the sepulchral cakes which are offered unto the Kas. Let me not be destroyed thereby. Let me not be compelled to take it into my hands, and let me not be compelled to walk thereon in my sandals. Chapter 52. Vignette. This chapter is without a vignette in the Theban Recension. In the Turin Papyrus the deceased is seated on a chair, and his left hand is stretched out over a table. Text: the chapter of not eating filth in the underworld. The overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief Nu, triumphant, saith, that which is an abomination unto me, that which is an abomination unto me, let me not eat. That which is an abomination unto me, that which is an abomination unto me is filth. Let me not eat it in the place of the sepulchral cakes which are offered unto the Kas. Let it not light upon my body. Let me not be obliged to take it into my hands, and let me not be obliged to walk thereon in my sandals. What now wilt thou live upon in the presence of the gods? Let food come unto me from the place whither thou wilt bring food. And let me live upon the 7 loaves of bread which shall be brought as food before Horus, and upon the bread which is brought before Thoth. The gods shall say unto me, what manner of food wouldst thou have given unto thee? And I reply, let me eat my food under the sycamore tree of my lady, the goddess Hathor, and let my times be among the divine beings who have alighted thereon. Let me have the power to order my own fields in Tatu, and my own growing crops in Anu. Let me live upon bread made of white barley, and let my beer be made from red grain, and may the persons of my father and mother be given unto me as guardians of my door, and for the ordering of my territory. Let me be sound and strong, let me have a large room, and let me be able to sit wheresoever I please. Chapter 53. Vignette. This chapter is without a vignette in the Theban Recension. In the Turin Papyrus the deceased is seated on a chair with a table of offerings before him, and his left hand with a bowl therein is stretched out over it. Text: the chapter of not eating filth and of not drinking foul water in the underworld. The overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith, I am the bull with 2 horns, and I lead along the heavens. I am the lord of the risings of the heavens, the great illuminer, who cometh forth out of flame, the bestower of years, the far extending one, the double lion god, and there hath been given to me the journey of the god of splendor, Khu. That which is an abomination unto me, that which is an abomination unto me, let me not eat. Let me not eat filth, and let me not drink foul water, and let me not be tripped up and fall in the underworld. I am the lord of cakes in Anu, and my bread is in heaven with Ra, and my cakes are on the earth with the god Seb, for the Sektet boat and the Atet boat have brought them to me from the house of the great god who is in Anu. I have put away from me my associates, and I have united myself to the boat of heaven. I eat of what they, the gods, or the divine boatmen, eat there. I live upon what they live upon there, and I eat of the cakes which are in the hall of the Lord of sepulchral offerings. I, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant. Chapter 54. Vignette. The deceased, arrayed in white and holding a sail symbolic of air in his left hand. Text: the chapter of giving air to the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant in the underworld. He saith: Hail, thou god Temu! Grant unto me the sweet breath which dwelleth in thy nostrils. I am the egg which is in Kenkenur, the great cackler, and I watch and guard that mighty thing which hath come into being, and with which the god Seb hath opened the earth. I live, and it liveth. I become old, I live, and I snuff the air. I am the god Utja Abet, the god who trieth hostility, and I resolve behind to protect his egg. I shine at the moment of Horus, the mighty god Suti, whose strength is twofold. Hail, thou who makest sweet the seasons of the two earths, thou dweller among Tchefau food, thou dweller in the cerulean heights of heaven, keep watch over the babe that dwelleth in his cot when he cometh forth to you. Chapter 55. Vignette: the deceased holding a sail in each hand. Text: the chapter of giving air in the underworld. Saith Nu, triumphant: I am the jackal of jackals. I am Shu, and I draw air from the presence of the god of light, Khu, to the bounds of heaven, and to the bounds of earth, and to the bounds of the uttermost limits of the flight, literally feather, of the Neba bird. May air be given unto these young divine beings. Chapter 56. Vignette: the deceased holding in his hand a sail, symbolic of air. Text: the chapter of snuffing the air among the waters in the underworld. The overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: Hail, thou god Tem! Grant thou unto me the sweet breath which dwelleth in thy nostrils. I embrace that great throne which is in the city of Hermopolis, and I keep watch over the egg of Kenken-ur, great cackler. I germinate as it germinateth, I live as it liveth, and my breath is its breath. Chapter 57. Vignette: the deceased standing in a stream of water and holding a sail in his left hand. Text: the chapter of snuffing the air and of having the mastery over the water in the underworld. The overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: Hail, Hapur, god of heaven, in thy name of divider of heaven, grant thou unto me that I may have dominion over the water, even as the goddess Sekhet had power over Osiris on the night of the storms and floods. Grant thou that I may have power over the divine princes who have their habitations in the place of the god of the inundation, even as they have power over their own holy god, of whose name they are ignorant. And may they let me have power even as he hath let them have power. My nostrils are opened in Tatu, or as others say, my mouth and my nostrils are opened in Tatu, and I have my place of peace in Anu, which is my house. It was built for me by the goddess Sesheta, and the god Khnemu set it up for me upon its walls. If to this heaven it cometh by the north, I sit at the south. If to this heaven it cometh by the south, I sit at the north. If to this heaven it cometh by the west, I sit at the east. And if to this heaven it cometh by the east, I sit at the west. I draw the hair of my nostrils, and I make my way into every place in which I wish to sit. In the papyrus of Nefer Uben F, this chapter ends quite differently, and reads: I am strong in my mouth and in my nostrils, for behold, Tem has stablished them. Behold, O ye gods and Khus, rest thou then, O Tem. Behold the staff which blossometh, and which cometh forth when a man crieth out in your names. Behold, I am Tem, the tree of the gods in their visible forms. Let me not be turned back. I am the Am Kent, Nefer Uben F triumphant. Let neither my flesh nor my members be gashed with knives. Let me not be wounded by knives by you. I have come, I have been judged, I have come forth therein. I have power with my Father, the old man Nu. He hath granted that I may live. He hath given strength unto me, and he hath provided me with the inheritance of my Father therein. Chapter 58. Vignette: Ani and his wife Thuthu standing in a pool of running water. Each holds a sail, the symbol of air, in the left hand, and scoops up water to the mouth with the right hand. On the edges of the pool are palm trees, from the largest of which hang great clusters of dates. Text: the chapter of breathing the air and of having dominion over the water in the underworld. Osiris Ani saith, "Open to me. Who art thou? Whither goest thou? What is thy name? I am one of you." Who are those with thee? The two serpent goddesses Murti. Separate thou from him, head from head, when thou goest into the divine Meskin chamber. He letteth me set out for the temple of the gods who have found their faces. Assembler of souls is the name of my boat. Making the hair to stand on end is the name of the oars. Goad is the name of the hold. Making straight for the middle is the name of the rudder. Likewise the boat is a type of my being borne onward in the pool. Let there be given unto me vessels of milk together with cakes, and loaves of bread, and cups of drink, and flesh in the temple of Anpu. Rubric: if he, the deceased, knoweth this chapter, he shall go into, after coming forth from, the underworld of the beautiful Amentet. Chapter 59. Vignette: Ani kneeling beside a pool of water wherein grows a sycamore tree. In the tree appears the goddess Nut, pouring out water for him from a vessel with the right hand, and giving him cakes with the left. Text: the chapter of snuffing the air and of having dominion over the waters in the underworld. Osiris Ani saith, "Hail, thou sycamore tree of the goddess Nut! Grant thou to me of the water and of the air which dwell in thee. I embrace the throne which is in Unu (Hermopolis), and I watch and guard the egg of Nekhekur, the great cackler. It groweth, I grow; it liveth, I live; it snuffeth the air, I snuff the air. I, the Osiris Ani, in triumph." Chapter 60. Vignette: the deceased holding in his left hand a sail symbolic of air. Text: another chapter. Osiris Auf Ankh, triumphant, saith, "Let the gates of heaven be opened for me by the god Thoth and by Hapi, and let me pass through the doors of Ta Qeb into the great heaven," or as others say at the time, or as others say with the strength of Ra. Grant ye, O Thoth and Hapi, that I may have power over the water, even as Set had power over his enemies on the day when there were storms and rain upon the earth. Let me have power over the divine beings who have mighty arms in their shoulders, even as the god who is apparelled in splendor and whose name is unknown had power over them. And may I have power over the beings whose arms are mighty. End of chapters 51 through 60. Chapters 61 through 70 of the Egyptian Book of the Dead by E. A. Wallis Budge. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Chapter 61. Vignette: The scribe Ani, clothed in white, clasping to his breast his soul, which is in the form of a human-headed hawk. Text: The chapter of not letting the soul of a man be taken from him in the underworld. Osiris, the scribe Ani, saith: I, even I, am he who came forth from the water flood which I make to overflow, and which becometh mighty as the river Nile. Chapter LXII. Vignette: The deceased scooping up running water out of a stream into his mouth with both hands. Text: The chapter of drinking water in the underworld. The scribe Nebseni saith: May be opened to me the mighty flood by Osiris, and may the abyss of water be opened to me by Tahuti Hapi, the lord of the horizon, in my name of opener. May there be granted to me mastery over the water courses as over the members of Set. I go forth into heaven. I am the lion god Ra. I am the bull. I have eaten the thigh, and I have divided the carcass. I have gone round about among the islands or lakes of Sekhet Aru. Indefinite time without beginning and without end hath been given to me. I inherit eternity, and everlastingness hath been bestowed upon me. The last three chapters with a single vignette are grouped in one of the papyrus of Nefer Uben F, but the order of them as there given is 61, 60, 62. In the Turin papyrus the vignette of each is the same, that is, the deceased holding a sail in his left hand. Chapter LXIIIa. Vignette: The deceased drinking water from a running stream, or the deceased kneeling by the side of a pool of water and receiving water in a bowl which he holds in his left hand from a vessel which the goddess of the sycamore tree, Nut, is emptying into it. In the Turin papyrus the deceased is pouring out water from two vessels before the symbol of flame. Text: The chapter of drinking water and of not being burnt by fire in the underworld. The overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief Nu, triumphant, saith: Hail, bull of Amentet! I am brought unto thee. I am the oar of Ra, wherewith he ferried over the divine aged ones. Let me neither be burnt up nor destroyed by fire. I am Bet, the firstborn son of Osiris, who doth meet every god within his eye in Annu. I am the divine heir, the exalted one, the mighty one, the resting one. I have made my name to germinate. I have delivered it, and thou shalt live through me day by day. Chapter LXIIIb. Vignette: The deceased standing before two symbols of fire, or the deceased sitting at a table of offerings and smelling of flour. Text: The chapter of not being scalded with water. The overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: I am the oar made ready for rowing, wherewith Ra transported the boat containing the divine ancestors, and lifted up the moist emanations of Osiris from the lake of fire, and he was not burned. I lie down like a divine Khu, and like Khnemu, who dwelleth among lions. Come, break away the restraints from him that passeth by the side of this path, and let me come forth by it. Chapter LXIV. The 64th chapter is probably one of the oldest of all, and two versions of it seem to have existed in the earliest times. The longer version is called the chapter of coming forth by day in the underworld, and the shorter the chapter of knowing the chapters of coming forth by day in a single chapter. On a coffin of the 11th dynasty both versions occur. The rubric of one version says that it was discovered in the reign of Hesepti, that is, about BC 4266, while the rubric of the other attributes its discovery to the time of Mentu-hetep, which is clearly a mistake, for Men-kau-ra, my Serenus. Thus, in the 11th dynasty, it was believed that the chapter might even be as ancient as the time of the first dynasty. There is little doubt that the chapter was looked upon as an abridgment of all the chapters of Coming Forth by Day, and that it had a value which was equivalent to them all. Chapter 64. Vignette: the deceased adoring the sun's disk, which rises above the top of a tree. Text: the chapter of Coming Forth by Day in the Underworld. Nebseni, Lord of Reverence, saith, I am yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and I have the power to be born a second time. I am the divine hidden soul who createth the gods, and who giveth sepulchral meals unto the denizens of the Tuat (underworld), Amentet, and heaven. I am the rudder of the east, the possessor of two divine faces, wherein his beams are seen. I am the lord of the men who are raised up, the lord who cometh forth from out of the darkness, and whose forms of existence are of the house wherein are the dead. Hail, ye two hawks, who are perched upon your resting places, who hearken unto the things which are said by him, who guide the bier to the hidden place, who lead along Ra, and who follow him into the uppermost place of the shrine which is in the celestial heights. Hail, Lord of the shrine which standeth in the middle of the earth. He is I, and I am he, and Ptah hath covered his sky with crystal. Hail, Ra, thou who art content, thy heart is glad by reason of the beautiful law of the day. Thou enterest in by Kemenu, and comest forth at the east, and the divine firstborn beings who are in thy presence cry out with gladness unto thee. Make thou thy roads glad for me, and make broad for me thy paths when I shall set out from earth for the life in the celestial regions. Send forth thy light upon me, O soul unknown, for I am one of those who are about to enter in, and the divine speech is in my ears in the Tuat (underworld). And let no defects of my mother be imputed unto me. Let me be delivered, and let me be safe from him whose divine eyes sleep at eventide, when he gathereth together and finisheth the day in night. I flood the land with water, and Kemur is my name, and the garment wherewith I am clothed is complete. Hail, thou divine prince, Ati Shef, cry out unto those divine beings who dwell in their hair at the season when the god is lifted upon the shoulder, saying, Come, thou who dwellest above thy divine abyss of water, for verily the thigh of the sacrifice is tied to the neck, and the buttocks are laid upon the head of Amentet. May the Urti goddesses, that is, Isis and Nephthys, grant such gifts unto me when my tears start from me, as I see myself journeying with the divine Tenna in Abydos, and the wooden fastenings which fasten the four doors above thee are in thy power within thy garment. Thy face is like that of a greyhound which scenteth with his nose the place whither I go on my feet. The god Akah transporteth me to the chamber, and my nurse is the divine double lion god himself. I am made strong, and I come forth like him that forceth a way through the gate, and the radiance which my heart hath made is enduring. I know the abysses is thy name. I work for you, O ye Khus. 4,600,000, 1,200 are they, concerning the things which are there. I am over their affairs, working for hours and days in setting straight the shoulders of the 12 Sa gods, and joining the hands of their company each to each. The sixth, who is at the head of the abyss, is the hour of the defeat of the fiends. I have come there in triumph, and I am he who is in the halls or courtyards of the underworld, and I am he who is laid under tribute to Shu. I rise as the Lord of Life through the beautiful law of this day, and it is their blood and the cool water of their slaughter which make the union of the earth to blossom. I make a way among the horns of all those who make themselves strong against me, and among those who in secret make themselves adversaries unto me, and who are upon their bellies. I have come as the envoy of my Lord of Lords to give counsel concerning Osiris. The eye shall not absorb its tears. I am the divine envoy of the house of him that dwelleth in his possessions, and I have come from Sekhem to Anu to make known to the Bennu bird therein concerning the events of the Tuat (underworld). Hail, thou Aukert, that is, underworld, which hidest thy companion who is in thee, thou creator of forms of existence like the god Khepera. Grant thou that Nebseni, the scribe and designer to the temples of the south and of the north, may come forth to see the disk, and that his journeyings forth may be in the presence of the great god, that is to say, Shu, who dwelleth in everlastingness. Let me journey on in peace, let me pass over the sky, let me adore the radiance of the splendour which is in my sight. Let me soar like a bird to see the companies of the Khus in the presence of Ra day by day, who vivifieth every human being that walketh upon the regions which are upon the earth. Hail, Hemti, that is runner, hail, Hemti, who carriest away the shades of the dead and the Khus from earth. Grant thou unto me a prosperous way to the Tuat (underworld), such as is made for the favoured ones of the god, because I am helpless to gather together the emanations which come from me. Who art thou then who consumest in its hidden place? I am the chief in Re stau, and he that goeth in his own name and cometh forth in that of Hehi, the Lord of millions of years and of the earth, is my name. The pregnant goddess hath deposited upon the earth her load, and hath given birth to Hit straightway. The closed door which is by the wall is overthrown, it is turned upside down, and I rejoice thereat. To the Mighty One hath his eye been given, and it sendeth forth light from his face when the earth becometh light, or at daybreak. I shall not become corrupt, but I shall come into being in the form of the Lion God, and like the blossoms of Shu. I am the being who is never overwhelmed in the waters. Happy, yea, happy is he that looked upon the funeral couch, which hath come to its place of rest, upon the happy day of the god whose heart resteth, who maketh his place of alighting thereon. I am he who cometh forth by day, the Lord of the bier which giveth life in the presence of Osiris. In very truth the things which are thine are stable each day, O scribe, artist, child of the Seshet chamber, Nebseni, Lord of veneration. I clasp the sycamore tree, I myself am joined unto the sycamore tree, and its arms are opened unto me graciously. I have come, and I have clasped the Uchat, and I have caused it to be seated in peace upon its throne. I have come to see Ra when he setteth, and I absorb into myself the winds which arise when he cometh forth, and both my hands are clean to adore him. I have gathered together all my members, I have gathered together all my members. I soar like a bird, and I descend upon the earth, and mine eye maketh me to walk thereon in my footsteps. I am the child of yesterday, and the Akeru gods of the earth have made me to come into being, and they have made me strong for my moment of coming forth. I hide with the god Aba Ayu, who will walk behind me, and my members shall germinate, and my Khu shall be as an amulet for my body, and as one who watcheth to protect my soul, and to defend it, and to converse therewith, and the company of the gods shall hearken unto my words. Rubric: if this chapter be known by the deceased, he shall be victorious both upon earth and in the underworld. He shall do whatsoever a man doeth who is upon the earth, and he shall perform all the deeds which those do who are alive. Now it is a great protection given by the god. This chapter was found in the city of Kemenu, inscribed upon the block of iron in letters of lapis lazuli, which was under the feet of this god. In the rubric to this chapter is found in the papyrus of Mesemneter. The chapter is said to have been discovered in the foundations of the shrine of the divine Hennu boat by the chief mason in the time of the king of the north and of the south, Hesepti triumphant, and it is there directed that it shall be recited by one who is ceremonially pure and clean, and who hath not touched women, and who hath not eaten flesh of animals or fish. Chapter 64. Vignette. In the papyrus of Nu this chapter has no vignette. Text: the chapter of knowing the chapters of coming forth by day in a single chapter. The overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Osiris Nu, triumphant, begotten of the overseer of the palace, Amen Hetep, triumphant, saith: I am yesterday and tomorrow, and I have the power to be born a second time. I am the divine hidden soul who createth the gods, and who giveth sepulchral meals to the divine hidden beings in the Tuat (underworld). In Amenti and in heaven I am the rudder of the east, the possessor of two divine faces wherein his beams are seen. I am the lord of those who are raised up, the lord who cometh forth from out of the darkness. Hail, ye two divine hawks, who are perched upon your resting places, and who hearken unto the things which are said by him. The thigh of the sacrifice is tied to the neck, and the buttocks are laid upon the head of Amentet. May the Urti goddesses, that is, Isis and Nephthys, grant such gifts unto me when my tears start from me as I look on. I know the abysses is thy name. I work for you, O ye Khus, who are in number 4,601,200, and they are in height 12 cubits. Ye travel on, joining the hands each to each, but the sixth hour, which belongeth at the head of the Tuat (underworld), is the hour of the overthrow of the Fiend. I have come there in triumph, and I am he who is in the hall or courtyard of the Tuat, and the seven come in his manifestations. The strength which protecteth me is that which hath my Khu under its protection, that is, the blood, and the cool water, and the slaughterings which abound. I open a way among the horns of all those who would do harm unto me, who keep themselves hidden, who make themselves adversaries unto me, and those who are upon their bellies. The eye shall not eat or absorb the tears of the goddess Aukert. Hail, goddess Aukert, open thou unto me the enclosed place, and grant thou unto me pleasant roads whereupon I may travel. Who art thou then who consumest in the hidden places? I am the chief in Re Stau, and I go in and come forth in my name of Hehi, the lord of millions of years and of the earth. I am the maker of my name. The pregnant one hath deposited upon the earth her load, the door by the wall is shut fast, and the things of terror are overturned and thrown down upon the backbone of the Bennu bird by the two Samaet goddesses. To the mighty one hath his eye been given, and his face emitteth light when he illumineth the earth. My name is his name. I shall not become corrupt, but I shall come into being in the form of the Lion God. The blossoms of Shu shall be in me. I am he who is never overwhelmed in the waters. Happy, yea, happy is the funeral couch of the still heart. He maketh himself to alight upon the pool, and verily he cometh forth therefrom. I am the lord of my life. I have come to this place, and I have come forth from Re-a-urt, the city of Osiris. Verily the things which are thine are with the Sariu deities. I have clasped the sycamore tree, and I have divided it. I have opened a way for myself among the Sekhu gods of the Tuat. I have come to see him that dwelleth in his divine uraeus, face to face and eye to eye, and I draw to myself the winds which rise when he cometh forth. My two eyes are weak in my face, O Lion God, babe, who dwellest in Utent. Thou art in me, and I am in thee, and thy attributes are my attributes. I am the god of the inundation, Ba, and Quem Shi is my name. My forms are the forms of the god Khepera, the hair of the earth of Tem, the hair of the earth of Tem. I have entered in as a man of no understanding, and I shall come forth in the form of a strong Khu, and I shall look upon my form, which shall be that of men and women for ever and for ever. Rubric 1. If this chapter be known by a man, he shall come forth by day, and he shall not be repulsed at any gate of that Tuat underworld, either in going in or in coming out. He shall perform all the transformations which his heart shall desire for him, and he shall not die. Behold, the soul of this man shall flourish, and moreover, if he know this chapter, he shall be victorious upon earth and in the underworld, and he shall perform every act of a living human being. Now it is a great protection which hath been given by the god. This chapter was found in the foundations of the shrine of Hennu by the chief mason during the reign of His Majesty the King of the North and of the South, Hesepti Triumphant, who carried it away as a mysterious object which had never before been seen or looked upon. The chapter shall be recited by a man who is ceremonially clean and pure, who hath not eaten the flesh of animals or fish, and who hath not had intercourse with women. Rubric 2. If this chapter be known by the deceased, he shall be victorious both upon earth and in the underworld, and he shall perform every act of a living human being. Now it is a great protection which hath been given by the god. This chapter was found in the city of Kemenu upon a block of iron of the south, which had been inlaid with letters of real lapis lazuli, under the feet of the god during the reign of His Majesty the King of the North and of the South, Men Kau Ra, Mycerinus, triumphant, by the royal son Heru Tata F, triumphant. He found it when he was journeying about to make an inspection of the temples. One Nekhet was with him, who was diligent in making him to understand it, and he brought it to the king as a wonderful object when he saw that it was a thing of great mystery, which had never before been seen or looked upon. This chapter shall be recited by a man who is ceremonially clean and pure, who hath not eaten the flesh of animals or fish, and who hath not had intercourse with women. And behold, thou shalt make a scarab of green stone, with a rim plated with gold, which shall be placed in the heart of a man, and it shall perform for him the opening of the mouth, and thou shalt anoint it with anti unguent, and thou shalt recite over it these enchantments. Chapter 65. Vignette: the deceased kneeling in adoration before Ra, hawk-headed and having a disk encircled by an uraeus on his head. Text: the chapter of coming forth by day and of gaining the mastery over enemies. The Chancellor in Chief Nu saith: Ra sitteth in his habitation of millions of years, and he hath gathered together the company of the gods, with those divine beings whose faces are hidden, who dwell in the temple of Khepera, who eat the god Ba, and who drink the drink offerings which are brought into the celestial regions of light, and conversely. Grant that I may take possession of the captives of Osiris, and never let me have my being among the fiends of Suti. Hail, let me sit upon his folds in the habitation of the god Usur Ba, that is, he of the strong soul. Grant thou that I may sit upon the throne of Ra, and let me have possession of my body before the god Seb. Grant thou that Osiris may come forth triumphant over Suti, and over the night watchers of Suti, and over the night watchers of the crocodile, yea, the night watchers of the crocodile, whose faces are hidden, and who dwell in the divine temple of the King of the North, in the apparel of the gods on the 6th day of the festival, whose snares are like unto everlastingness, and whose cords are like unto eternity. I have seen the god Abet Ka placing the cord. The child is laid in fetters, and the rope of the god Ab Ka is drawn tight. Behold me, I am born, and I come forth in the form of a living Khu, and the human beings who are upon the earth ascribe praise unto me. Hail, Mer, who doest these things for me, and who art put an end to by the vigour of Ra. Grant thou that I may see Ra. Grant thou that I may come forth against my enemies, and grant thou that I may be victorious over them in the presence of the sovereign princes of the great god, who are in the presence of the great god. If, repulsing me, thou dost not allow me to come forth against my enemy, and to be victorious over him before the sovereign princes, then may Hapi, who liveth upon law and order, not come forth into heaven. Now he liveth by Maat, and may Ra, who feedeth upon fish, not descend into the waters, and then verily shall Ra, who feedeth upon right and order, come forth into heaven, and then verily shall Hapi, who feedeth upon fish, descend into the waters, and then verily the great day upon the earth shall not be in its season. I have come against my enemy. He hath been given unto me. He hath come to an end, and I have gotten possession of him before the sovereign princes. Chapter 65. Vignette: the deceased standing up and holding a staff in his left hand. Text: the chapter of coming forth by day and of gaining the mastery over enemies. Hail, thou who shinest from the moon, and who sendest forth light therefrom. Thou comest forth among thy multitudes, and thou goest round about. Let me rise, or, as others say, let me be brought in among the Khus, and let the underworld be opened unto me. Behold, I have come forth on this day, and I have become a Khu, or a shining being. Therefore shall the Khus let me live, and they shall cause my enemies to be brought to me in a state of misery in the presence of the divine sovereign princes. The divine Ka, double of my mother, shall rest in peace because of this, and I shall stand upon my feet, and have a staff of gold, or, as others say, a rod of gold in my hand, wherewith I shall inflict cuts on the limbs of mine enemy, and shall live. The legs of Sothis are established, and I am born in their state of rest. Chapter 66. Vignette: in the only papyrus known to contain this chapter, it has no vignette. Text: the chapter of coming forth by day. The scribe Mahu saith: I have knowledge. I was conceived by the goddess Sekhet, and the goddess Neith gave birth to me. I am Horus, and I have come forth from the Eye of Horus. I am Uchit, who came forth from Horus. I am Horus, and I fly up and perch myself upon the forehead of Ra in the bows of his boat which is in heaven. Chapter 67. Vignette: this chapter is without a vignette. Text: the chapter of opening the underworld. The overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: the chamber of those who dwell in Nu is opened, and the footsteps of those who dwell with the god of light are set free. The chamber of Shu is opened, and he cometh forth, and I shall come forth outside, and I shall advance from my territory. I shall receive, and I shall lay firm hold upon the tribute in the house of the chief of his dead. I shall advance to my throne, which is in the boat of Ra. I shall not be molested, and I shall not suffer shipwreck from my throne, which is in the boat of Ra, the mighty one. Hail, thou that shinest and givest light from Hentchi. Chapter 68. Vignette: the deceased kneeling before a goddess seated by a tree, or the deceased standing by the side of a table of offerings and adoring a goddess who stands in a shrine. Text: the chapter of coming forth by day. The overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: the doors of heaven are open for me, the doors of earth are open for me, the bars and bolts of Seb are open for me, and the first temple hath been unfastened for me by the god Petra. Behold, I was guarded and watched, but now I am released. Behold, his hand had tied cords round me, and his hand had darted upon me in the earth. Re-hent hath been opened for me, and Re-hent hath been unfastened before me. Re-hent hath been given unto me, and I shall come forth by day unto whatsoever place I please. I have gained the mastery over my heart. I have gained the mastery over my breast. I have gained the mastery over my 2 hands. I have gained the mastery over my 2 feet. I have gained the mastery over my mouth. I have gained the mastery over my whole body. I have gained the mastery over sepulchral offerings. I have gained the mastery over the waters. I have gained the mastery over the air. I have gained the mastery over the canal. I have gained the mastery over the river and over the land. I have gained the mastery over the furrows. I have gained the mastery over the male workers for me. I have gained the mastery over the female workers for me in the underworld. I have gained the mastery over all the things which were ordered to be done for me upon the earth, according to the entreaty which ye spake for me, saying, behold, let him live upon the bread of Seb. That which is an abomination unto me I shall not eat, nay, I shall live upon cakes made of white grain, and my ale shall be made of the red grain of Hapi, that is, the Nile. In a clean place shall I sit on the ground beneath the foliage of the date palm of the goddess Hathor, who dwelleth in the spacious disk, as it advanceth to Annu Heliopolis, having the books of the divine words of the writings of the god Thoth. I have gained the mastery over my heart. I have gained the mastery over my heart's place, or breast. I have gained the mastery over my mouth. I have gained the mastery over my 2 hands. I have gained the mastery over the waters. I have gained the mastery over the canal. I have gained the mastery over the river. I have gained the mastery over the furrows. I have gained the mastery over the men who work for me. I have gained the mastery over the women who work for me in the underworld. I have gained the mastery over all the things which were ordered to be done for me upon earth and in the underworld. I shall lift myself up on my left side, and I shall place myself on my right side. I shall lift myself up on my right side, and I shall place myself on my left side. I shall sit down, I shall stand up, and I shall place myself in the path of the wind, like a guide who is well prepared. Rubric: if this composition be known by the deceased, he shall come forth by day, and he shall be in a position to journey about over the earth among the living, and he shall never suffer diminution, never, never. Chapter 69. Vignette: this chapter is without a vignette, both in the Theban and Sa'ite recensions of the Book of the Dead. Text: another chapter. I am the fire god, the divine brother of the fire god, and I am Osiris, the brother of Isis. My divine son, together with his mother Isis, hath avenged me on mine enemies. My enemies have wrought every kind of evil, therefore their arms and hands and feet have been fettered by reason of their wickedness which they have wrought upon me. I am Osiris, the firstborn of the divine womb, the firstborn of the gods, and the heir of my father Osiris Seb. I am Osiris, the lords of the heads that live, mighty of breast and powerful of back, with a phallus which goeth to the remotest limits where men and women live. I am Sa, Orion, who travelleth over his domain, and who journeyeth along before the stars of heaven, which is the belly of my mother Nut. She conceived me through her love, and she gave birth to me because it was her will so to do. I am Anpu, Anubis, on the day of the god Sepa. I am the bull at the head of the meadow. I, even I, am Osiris, who imprisoned his father together with his mother on the day of making the great slaughter. Now his father is Seb, and his mother is Nut. I am Horus, the firstborn of Ra of the risings. I am Anpu, Anubis, on the day of the god Sepa. I, even I, am the Lord Tem. I am Osiris. Hail, thou divine firstborn, who dost enter and dost speak before the divine scribe and doorkeeper of Osiris, grant that I may come. I have become a Khu, I have been judged, I have become a divine being, I have come, and I have avenged mine own body. I have taken up my seat by the divine birth chamber of Osiris, and I have destroyed the sickness and suffering which were there. I have become mighty, and I have become a divine being by the side of the birth chamber of Osiris. I am brought forth with him. I renew my youth, I renew my youth. I take possession of my two thighs, which are in the place where is Osiris, and I open the mouth of the gods therewith. I take my seat by his side, and Thoth cometh forth, and I am strengthened in heart with thousands of cakes upon the altars of my divine father, and with my beasts, and with my cattle, and with my red-feathered fowl, and with my oxen, and with my geese, and with my ducks, for Horus my chieftain, and with the offerings which I make to Thoth, and with the sacrifices which I offer up to An-Heri Teitsa. Chapter 70. Vignette: this chapter is without a vignette, both in the Theban and Sa'ite recensions of the Book of the Dead. Text: another chapter. I have sacrificed unto An-Heri Teitsa, and I am decreed to be strengthened in heart, for I have made offerings at the altars of my divine father Osiris. I rule in Tatu, and I lift myself up over his land. I sniff the wind of the east by its hair. I lay hold upon the north wind by its hair. I seize and hold fast to the west wind by its body, and I go round about heaven on its four sides. I lay hold upon the south wind by its eye, and I bestow air upon the venerable beings who are in the underworld, along with the eating of cakes. Rubric: if this composition be known by the deceased upon earth, he shall come forth by day, and he shall have the faculty of travelling about among the living, and his name shall never perish. End of chapters 61 through 70.